Okay, so there is Vayeshev is quite a rich parsha. It's very hard to pick what to do here, but there are a few things that I think you have to know in the parsha. So I think what I'm going to do today is the Rashbam's interpretation of the Mechiras Yosef story, because you at least have to know this pshat. Okay, so standardly, when we think about this week's parsha, who is it that sold Yosef?
The brothers.
Brothers, that's what everyone says. Right, the Rashbam notes, however, that this is probably untrue. Now, it is true that later on, Yosef says that you sold me. But if you actually... Now, so it's clear that Yosef thinks that they sold him. But if you actually read the Psukim, it's a bit more complicated than that. Because what happens...
The Midianites came. And they took
Right, well, let's read the Psukim. And so what happens? First, what do they do? First, stage one.
Throw him in a pit.
Well, no, but even before that. There's a stage before that. They saw him coming, and what do they want to do?
Kill him.
Kill him. Right? So plan one is let's kill him. That gets turned down by Reuven, who says let's not kill him. Instead, let's throw him into the bore. Now, the Pasuk tells you that the reason he wanted to do that was to save his life later, to bring him back to Yaakov, but the brothers don't know that. But that's stage one. Then stage two, therefore, is they actually throw him in the pit. But throwing him in the pit is essentially a passive way of killing him. Right? That's also murder. Right? That's murder. Then they backtrack on this as well, and they say,
What will we gain?
why should we do this? Right? What's the benefit? So then they say, what's plan three? Sell him. But then, if you're careful, what happens? So in Pasuk Chav Zayin they say, "Lechuvenim karenu leishme'elim, v'yadeinu al ti'ivok yachinu v'tzarenu v'yishmu echav." Let's sell him to the Ishmaelim. But then the next pasuk is "Vayavru anashim midyanim socharim, vayimshechu vayalu et Yosef min habor, vayimkeru et Yosef leishmeelim be'esrim kaseh, vayaviu et Yosef mitzrayma." But then there's an interruption. The Midyanim came, they take him out, and they sell him to the Ishmaelim, Bezrim Kesef. So, the way many Mefarshim, Rashi understands it, is who sold him? The brothers. Right? That's how Rashi understands it.
They sold him first, and the Midianites sold him after.
Right? The brothers sell him to the Ishmaelim. Right? Sorry, the brothers sell him to the Midyanim. Right? I mean, the brothers meant to send him to the Ishmaelim, and then there are Midyanim passing, so they sell them to the Midyanim instead. And then the Midyanim sell them to the Ishmaelim. Not Midyanim, Midanim. We should be careful. It's not actually the Midyanim, it's the Midanim. Right? Those are different nations. Right? Midan, Ve'et, Midyan, those are two different sons of... but Midan... right, first is Midan, later on it's Midyan, but first Midan. But the Rashbam notes that if you're very careful in the Psukim, he says, what happened? I mean, they saw, they were eating, and they saw the Ishmaelim. That's how they got the idea. But they were a little bit farther away, because they didn't, it was pasnish. It was better, we're going to eat while we have to listen to our brothers scream from us. It's pasnish. We'll go a little bit away. V'kodem shabo ha'yishmaelim avdu anashim midyanim acherim derech sham v'ra'u bavor meshachu mecharu ha'midyanim le'yishmaelim. But while they had planned to sell him, but they didn't actually get around to it. Instead, the Midyanim did v'yesh lomar shachim lo yadu, and it might be the brothers didn't even know. And he says, even though Yosef will later say, you sold me to Mitzrayim, yesh lomar shehagramas ma'aseim siyuva michira. Maybe what he means is, you caused it. Now, the simple pshat is, no, he thought they sold him, meaning, imagine, you're Yosef. You're thrown into a pit, and a few minutes later, you're taken out and sold as a slave. Right? You assume that your brothers actually planned that. And he says, how do I know? Because it sounds like it's mikra. And they happen to be passing by. Va'af im baza lomar im karu et Yosef l'shmeilim ge'echad mecharu af ken tzarich lomar shehem tzivu l'mindanim zacharem l'mashchol v'naborach kach machar l'shmeilim. Right, and at any rate, he said the verb "and they took him out" clearly doesn't refer to the brothers. It refers to these passing traders, because the brothers at best told them to take him out and sell him on. So. Right, this is the Rashbam's pshat. Everyone likes quoting the Rashbam's pshat because it contradicts everything we know about the story, but it's a close read of the psukim. But the interesting thing about the Rashbam is as follows: is let's say the Rashbam is right. So then what? Right, because here's where I think people get messed up. Let's say the Rashbam is right. The brothers didn't sell Yosef. So what? Are they culpable or not?
It should be worse.
Right. See, people sometimes quote the Rashbam as if to say, the brothers never sold Yosef. Right? They never sold Yosef. They're off scot-free. They're more ethical than we thought. But really, what Yosef and the Rashbam is the opposite. Is that they first planned to murder him, then they backtracked. Then they said, okay, we'll passively let him die. We'll throw him into a pit. Then they changed their mind, but by the time they changed their mind to sell him, he was already sold. Right, which means that the last action they actually took was one of passive murder rather than one of selling. So if anything, the Rashbam doesn't make it any better, it makes it worse. And at best, that's at worst. At best, what does it make it?
The same.
Equivalent. Why? Because they did a little bit of tshuva. Right? They said, you know what, let's not kill him. They said, let's sell him. And then it turned out that's what happened. He got sold. Right? So, at worst, they should be culpable of attempted murder. At best, they should be culpable for what actually happened, which is sold. Right? I mean, the Rashbam doesn't in any way make it better. At best, it makes it equivalent. And at worst, it makes it much worse. Right? Because, again, but what is interesting, this is a point that Ray Foreman makes on this, which is pointed, and this is something we sometimes forget in life. Right? We always think in life, like you do tshuva and things will be great. But there is something you learn from this story, which is, once you do an action,
sometimes it's too late.
Right? Sometimes it's too late. Right? I mean, the fact that you regret what you did won't necessarily help you. I mean, according to the Rashbam, what do you have? Stage 1, they want to murder him. They regret that and manage not to murder him. Stage 2, they want to murder him passively. Stage 3, they want to pull him out of the pit. Now, what might have happened, right, following this progression, what might have happened had they actually gone to the pit, pulled him out? What might have happened? They might have not sold him at all. Right? Meaning, right, they quickly, very quickly say they keep downgrading what they're willing to do to him. Had they actually pulled him out, they might have managed to, talk themselves out of even selling their brother. Right? But they never got that chance. And therefore, the Torah holds them culpable. Right? The very fact that the trajectory they were going in was one that said, probably by the time they actually took him out of the pit, they wouldn't have bothered selling him, right? They would have done tshuva again, right? They were so quickly backtracking from their evil intent, is irrelevant in the story. Because at the end of the day, they were too late, right? Tshuva is very nice if you get the chance to do it. But once you run out of time, right, the Torah doesn't say, well, if you had gotten an opportunity, you would have done better, right? It doesn't work that way, right? If you had an evil intent, and then you don't manage to undo it, you are responsible for what happens. But we don't start anticipating it. I mean, that's, again, something that becomes clear from the Rashbam, right? Is that, we freeze the story at this point, right? We don't start, right? It's no longer relevant what the brothers might have said later on. And as we know, later on, the brothers, right, are better. They do some sort of tshuva, right? But that's only later. But for this action, the Torah counts it as if, right, they sold him or worse. Right? So those, I think, are two things from this, right? One is that even if the Rashbam is right, it's not exonerating them, right? If anything, it's making it the same or worse. And the second thing is to realize that just because the trajectory may have led to even less sin, it doesn't matter anymore. Because if you run out of time, right, we don't start saying, well, you might have done better had you had more time. Too bad, right? Time can work against you. Right? You don't get to say, oh, if I had more time, I would have acted better. But the fact is you didn't. Okay? So that's some things to think about.